Welcome to this episode of What's Happening in Waupaca. I am Joni Kern. We are actually tonight on City Square in Waupaca. Foundations for Living is hosting their first annual Sleepout. So I have Robin Madsen here, who we're going to talk to for just a moment. Robin, why are you doing this?
Well, really, there's two reasons why we're doing it. Number one, to raise awareness of the homelessness. There's still people that think we don't have homeless in Waupaca, and it's not true. If you look at all of the hands along the fences, those represent all of the exact number of men, women, and children that are homeless in Waupaca.
And how many is that?
We got 86 kids that we got from Ann Collins Reed, and there's about 57 adults.
That, you know, in a town of 6,800 people, that is 10%. That's a huge, or 1%, excuse me. That's a huge amount of people.
Yeah, it is. It is. And you wouldn't think so because you can't see it. You know, they don't sleep in boxes, but they're still homeless. They don't have their own home. They don't have a place to call their own.
And you actually have a really good crowd here, so that's pretty exciting for you.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this is the first time, so we didn't really know what to expect. So I'm excited. We have like 30 people that are sleeping out tonight. We got boxes and cots and sleeping bags, and yeah, I'm excited. It's great.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So, and it's not going to be particularly warm. It's a low of, I think, 57 tonight.
Well, that's not too bad. I'm okay with that. It's not raining. It's not raining.
That would make it a little bit. But you know what? When you're homeless, you get all of the weather, and you get wet, and you get cold, and it's windy or storming or whatever.
Yeah, when we were planning it, one of the questions that Henry asked us was, well, what are you going to do when it rains? And I said, well, you know, what do homeless people do when it rains? You just deal with it. You get wet.
And that's one of the things that I think is exciting about this for you, is because it helps the people here have a perspective on what it feels to not have a roof over their head. And I was talking to someone, and I said, you know, lots of us have been in a position in our life where we didn't really have money for groceries, but we still had a bed to sleep in and a roof over our head, which 87 people don't, correct?
Right, correct, yeah. They're either sleeping on the streets, in their cars, or in somebody else's house on the couch.
Now, you have a warming shelter, and that's opening when this year?
Hopefully it's going to be opening within the first week in October. We had to put some firewalls up, but you got some really good crew that's working really hard right now doing it.
Great. So that'll be open for anyone that we know of that needs some help, or anyone that sees this show that needs some help. Thank you, Robin, for what you do for this community. I think it's admirable. I just have a lot of respect for you.
Thank you, Joni. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
We're actually talking with Greg Biba. I know that you are on the board of directors for the Foundations for Living, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Now, tell me a little bit about why this is something that's so important to you.
You know what? I was just talking to someone back there about it too. You know, as busy as everybody's life is, this kind of a event is so important to help to show the community that there is a homeless issue, even in downtown Waupaca or in Waupaca in the surrounding communities. You don't have to be sleeping in a box like a lot of us are going to be tonight to be considered homeless. I've got some close friends who have worked with homeless and the homeless people and the needy, and they don't necessarily have to be living in boxes. As I said, they could be going from couch to couch to couch. And when it hits you personally, or when your family and friends are dealing with people that they know are homeless and needy, then you got to do something. You got to step up.
Now, one of the things I was talking to Robin about is there's a hand on the fence for every homeless person that she's aware of in the city of Waupaca. Now, you are a teacher at the Waupaca Middle School. Do you personally know of any kids at the middle school that are homeless?
I don't really know of anyone personally, no, but I do have friends and counselors, associates that know, and they don't like to tell, just for confidentiality reasons, who the homeless are.
But that's got got to be tough to be a teacher and to look out at students, and you know if some of them are having a tough time or not. So I could see that as being a driving force behind you being with Foundations for Living.
Absolutely. I mean, you work with over half the school every day of the school year, and you can tell who are the privileged and who are the underprivileged. You definitely can.
So tell me, and I'm probably putting you on the spot, but Robin and I have talked about this, and I've talked to some other people. What do you think is the solution for the homeless problem or the transient problem?
Letting the community know about this, letting the businesses, the sponsors know about this, try to get the needy, the homeless, the needy and the homeless, the care and the provisions that they need.
And part of what we are all doing here tonight is the awareness, because there are so many people that think that Waupaca has no homeless problem, and there aren't any homeless people, and we just know that there are.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I worked in the Foundations for Living office as a volunteer last winter, and they're not breaking down the doors, but when they're coming in at all hours of the night, needing some warmth, needing some shelter, needing a little food, then there's an issue.
And it's a great feeling knowing that there's something like Foundations for Living there to help.
Absolutely. Without Foundations, and I got to give all the credit to Robin and her sister and the office staff and my fellow board of directors for doing what we can do. It's only been a couple of years, and as long as the community is aware of what needs to be done, then I think we're on the right track.
Well said, Greg. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Don't get too cold.
No, I won't. I got a cardboard box and I got a sleeping bag, so I think I'll be okay, and the weather looks okay for tonight.
We are actually talking with Linda here. She is at the Sleepout with us, so welcome, Linda.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to talk with me tonight. I think it was very interesting to be able to talk with you for a few minutes, because Linda actually was homeless, you told me, for a couple of months.
Yes, in New York City.
And I say, ew. Yeah. Are you from New York City?
I am, yes. Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about what happened that you ended up homeless.
Well, I was raised in a very dysfunctional family. My mom was under a lot of stress, and I was 15, and we weren't getting along, and she kicked me out. So that's how I became homeless. I had a grandmother who was schizophrenic and multiple personalities living with us. My dad is an alcoholic, and so there were like a lot of situations at home we were all under so much stress.
So at 15 years old, you were living on the streets of New York City?
Yes, I was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how long did that last?
2 months. Mm-hmm.
So what did you do, or what happened that you ended up having somewhere to sleep again?
I ended up moving in with a boyfriend who was much older than me, so that was how I ended my homeless situation. So.
And it sounds like, and I can understand, you do whatever it is that you need to do in order to get whatever it is that you need to have. So to hear you say that you moved in with a boyfriend in order to end a homeless situation sounds perfectly natural to me.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it probably wasn't the best of situations for you, correct?
It was not, yes. Yeah, he was abusive, so yeah.
We're talking about the generational problem of dysfunction in families. Do you think that that's a big reason for the homelessness and the homeless problem that we have?
I absolutely believe that, yes.
So I just have to ask you, Linda, how did you end up in Waupaca, Wisconsin from New York City?
Well, my husband, I met him in Milwaukee, actually, and how I met him, we're married 32 years. I met him because I was actually running away from the boyfriend who was abusive and wanted to kill me. So I ended up leaving New York and staying in Milwaukee with an aunt, and that's how I met my husband. And we ended up coming up to Waupaca because my brother-in-law lives up here, and we vacationed up here.
So what a neat and touching thing. I mean, it's almost Cinderella.
Yes.
Ish, where you were able to escape from that and find someone that you've been married to for 32 years, obviously a wonderful guy, that and start your life over then.
Yes, absolutely. I feel blessed to have that chance to start over because it was a rough place growing up in New York City in the 70s. It was just filled with crime and, and being a 15-year-old girl who's homeless, and, there were plenty situations where I felt threatened. I was almost got raped, and so it was, pretty scary. And I remember plenty of nights on the rooftops just praying and, just looking up at the sky. And, I feel blessed. I feel like I have angels looking out for me. So, yeah.
We are now talking with David. Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, actually, for being willing to talk with us tonight. I appreciate that.
Well, I'm trying to help any way I can.
And I know Robin appreciates that. David was actually homeless for a while. How long were you homeless for?
I'm 32 now, and I was homeless when I was 8, from 8 all the way till probably about 15.
Okay.
It was a long time ago.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's only 17 years. You're talking to someone who's a little older than 32. So how did you become homeless as an 8-year-old?
I kind of started joining the street gangs, started stealing, and my mom didn't want me living with her no more if I was going to do that, so she kicked me out.
At 8 years old, your mom kicked you out?
Yep. My mom didn't, she was always in and out of jail and prison, so she never had time for me. So I just started doing what I could to make money for myself, and next thing I know, she kicked me out.
So where did you live? I mean, that's 7 years. That's a long time to not have a home. So how did you, were you living literally on the streets or as part of a gang? Did they have a spot for you to sleep?
Started out when I was 8 years old. I started living home to home, bouncing around family and friends, wherever I could. Once everybody kind of got fed up with my crap, so to speak, they didn't want me being there. They burnt bridges with them. So I started sleeping on the streets underneath the bridge over on Oneida Street by the jail, parking ramps, wherever I could.
Did this all happen right here in Waupaca?
No, Appleton. That's where I'm from, is Appleton.
Okay, that's still pretty tough to be homeless. Okay, so at 15 years old, what happened that turned your life around?
I wouldn't necessarily say my life turned around. It just got to a point where everybody started dying around me, and it got me to thinking, I can probably better myself a little bit more. I mean, I still kind of did illegal things, which by far is not the appropriate way, but I still did it to try and maintain. But it was maintaining my habit of cigarettes, my habit of living, in hotels or my apartment, my games, TV, anything I could. And then I kind of learned how to be a worse criminal, I guess. Manipulation kind of took over, and I kind of, once again, not supposed to do something like this, but started manipulating women that had money. Sure. Just to maintain my habit and a place to live.
I was just talking to Linda, and I said to her, and I think it's true, I think it's true of everyone, but I think it's far more prevalent for people who find themselves homeless. You do what you need to do to get what you need to have. And there are basic needs. There's food and water, and we have a need to have people around us. So, it doesn't surprise me. And you say that this wasn't the right thing for me to do, but it doesn't surprise me that that kind of stuff happens, because you still need some things and you need food. So when you're living on the streets at 8 years old, what do you eat?
Whatever I could get my hands on. There's times where I've gone to restaurants and just begged for food. There's been times where I go down to the pantry or Salvation Army and eat lunch and supper. They did have a lot of, and I never really got into church. You know, I'm not really a big Bible person, but a lot of churches had, you know, suppers and lunches, and if you go there and say, hey, I'm homeless, I have no food, they usually give you food. I mean, the help is there for the people that want it or need it.
How did you find out about it? Because one of the things that I hear a lot is we don't know how to get the word out to people that we are here to help them.
Actually, there's one man, and I hope he doesn't get mad for if he ever sees us for mentioning his name, but he's now a captain, and it would be Stanky, Captain Stanky for Appleton Police Department. When I was a kid, arrested me for shoplifting once, and he's the reason why I found out about the little local stores and restaurants that feed homeless or help the homeless. He's the reason why I found all the places that I did for living situations or clothes or water or anything like that.
If you could solve the problems that young people have, because Linda was 15 when she was kicked out, how do you think that there is one pretty easy answer for the problems of homelessness?
Getting rid of drugs. I mean, the heroin and the meth and the crack and all that, it's taken over our world. It's taken over our country, our living space. I mean, no offense towards anybody in this world or in this town, but I can't throw a stone without hitting somebody that's on drugs or is trying to find drugs.
And I know that there's a huge, in fact, we're doing a piece on one of our future shows about the heroin problem here in Waupaca. What would you like to see from people like me who have always had a home to live in? I haven't always been rich, certainly, but I've always had a roof over my head. So if you could ask something of me for homeless people, what would it be?
Do what you're doing, do what we're doing here. Just help to show that you are paying attention, that you see the problem, that you're trying to help to make the problem better. I mean, there's not much as far as somebody with a roof over the head can do that, because I mean, trust goes a long ways, and you can't just allow somebody in your house because they're homeless, you know, without trusting them. And it's hard to trust somebody.
David, thank you so much for sharing your time and your story with me tonight. It's very much appreciated. And I know you're sleeping out here tonight. I hope it doesn't bring back too many bad memories for you.
That's the part where I was talking about earlier. This is to help from my past. I'm doing this mostly to help, you know, to put the word out there, but also for my own self-being, to kind of remind me of where I was. That's why I have no blankets, I have no cot, I have nothing, just the box with my pillow, just so I can remind myself of where I was before I became where I am now.
And that's kind of neat, because you can wake up tomorrow morning and you can say, I'm not there anymore, look at how far I've come. Mm-hmm. And that does more to help you continue on a road that you want to be on than anything else.
Yeah, that is definitely for sure on that, and I'm hoping that I keep going on maintaining the road to success, as they say.
It is one day at a time, and it often is 1 minute at a time.
Sometimes it can be even 1 second at a time. It just depends on how your life goes. I mean, you could be in a bad situation 1 second, and the next thing you know, everything is good.
Exactly, exactly. Thank you again, David. I wish you the very best of luck in your future.
I hope if you're staying out tonight, stay warm.
All right, we will.